Welcome back to Property Play. I'm here with Virginia Munden. We're back for part 2 of all things real estate.
I love it. What is your key differentiator in this community? What separates you from so many other brands and brokerages out here? You seem to, I mean, I saw you had a property listed and you did an extraordinary open house at the Well, which is very close here. So, and I've seen other properties that you've listed and sold. I see them online. You've got quite a number on Realtor.ca that people can select from. You don't navigate from this community. Or do you?
I do.
You do?
So
okay.
The best way to phrase it is my people are my farm. So if they are further out, then I will have a listing further out.
Are they moving here?
It's a mixture.
Okay.
So I've had people move further out. I've have people move in. But what I think has differentiated my team in this market is
Right.
we're not doing anything different from what I was doing 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I know that sounds crazy, but I was always doing blowout open houses. I was always marketing a little bit differently. I was always doing videos. I was doing all this. And instead of contracting like a lot of agents choose to do in markets that are not as easy,
Right.
I continue to do something that we've always done. And the funny thing is I was talking with my husband about it the other day, and he goes, "You are still spending a lot of money on your listings." And I go, "I know, but the money is carrying us further now."
Right.
So anything that we do that we were doing before somehow has gotten amplified. So I've had people reach out to me and say, "Oh my God, you did so much for that place." And I'm like, we do it for all of them.
What's bare minimum standard for you when it comes to taking a listing and investing in it? What's standard for Elena Saradidis?
So if we need to paint it, it's getting painted. If we need to change light fixtures, we're changing light fixtures. Doorknob handles, we're changing doorknob handles. That's bare minimum.
Okay.
Like it's going to happen in every single one of our listings. They're all painted. If we magically don't have to paint it, then we magically don't have to paint it.
Right.
But standard in every single listing
Right.
is that it's been painted. Doorknob handles have been swapped if we need to swap them. Light fixtures have been swapped if we need to swap them. And they've all gotten staged. And you'll notice that anything that we have currently online for sale is all staged.
Amazing.
And the reason for staging is because they sell for more money when they are staged. They
and
do.
I'm sure it looks. I'm not sure what word I'm gonna use here, but when you're online and sourcing listings on Realtor.ca, many of them look the same. There's nothing really special about them.
Definitely.
But some of those little touches, we'll call them, that you seem to invest in and apply to each and every one of your listings, I think it adds to the experience, the client's viewing experience, both online, and that could be the attraction point to get them in. Like this tree, is this part of the staging, this olive tree?
It's part of the staging.
Well, I love that because it just brings me to Italy right now, right? To the olive grove. But all the little touches that you've added in this property have added a different element.
So what people don't realize is, and again, I say this all the time, multiple times a day, the way you live is not the way you sell.
Right.
So
okay, cool.
I've had condo market right now. Let's talk about that for a little bit. The condo market right now isn't doing as well,
Okay.
but we're still managing to sell condos.
Right.
And people have asked me how. And I go, we have not contracted in what we've been doing.
Right.
I've been telling people to move all their furniture out of the house or out of the condo.
What's the inventory for condos right now? Do we have that? Did it?
Oh, I didn't pull it before we got
No?
here. So,
Okay,
but
that's
but
okay.
look, I can tell you right now, 1-bedroom studio apartments are
Yes.
having very difficult, like they're having
Okay.
a lot of difficulty right now. 1 bedrooms plus den, 1 bedroom plus 2 den are moving a little bit easier. 2 bedroom plus, those have the highest chance of actually selling.
Right.
So when we're going into listing presentations, we're also telling them that.
Right.
But removing the furniture and staging it properly, when you're competing in a market where there's so much inventory,
Right.
that's how your listing stands out.
Right.
And I'm not talking about normal staging. Like you walked through this house.
Yes.
And the first thing you asked me was,
It's magazine. It's
is it?
magazine.
Yes, it's
for
magazine.
Sure.
But you also said, is it staged or is it the owner's?
Right.
Because we're not putting typical staging furniture in the home. It doesn't help.
Right. It was very artsy. That element of artistic value, I think, is in here. And when you look at the fact that it is a heritage home, I think it's exciting.
It's actually not deemed heritage.
It's not deemed heritage. Well,
No. Don't do that. I
No.
told everyone that came in, I was
Yeah.
like,
it's not heritage.
Not heritage.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what year was it constructed again?
1880.
1880. Yeah, not quite yet. But I can feel home, but I also feel history.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. I felt different in this home as opposed to walking through a normal home that's just staged with a couch, a couple of pillows, a throw.
And there is a difference. Like even when you're an agent and you're looking to stage, there's different tiers of pricing strategies for stagers. The entry level stagers that are just bringing in furniture and plopping them in. Yes, there's furniture. It will help sell the property. But in this market, there's so much competition.
Right.
The stagers that are actually on the more expensive side, those homes are still getting sold.
Right.
There's a difference in who you use for staging.
Right.
And then professional photography.
And who you use for selling as well. I
100%.
mean, the two kind of go hand in hand. I find the storytelling component to be very important. And I think you told a beautiful story here.
Thank you.
Yes. Tell me what properties in Toronto are having a hard time other than condos. What are there neighborhoods, specific neighborhoods that are a little slower than others?
There are.
Price points.
Look, this is the thing. The entry-level price points for certain neighborhoods are the max for other neighborhoods.
Okay.
So you never want to be the most expensive house on the block.
Okay.
Even if the most expensive house on the block is cheaper than neighborhood properties.
Right.
It makes it a hard sell in any market. So those properties are seeing difficulties right now because every neighborhood has been hit a little bit. It's unique inventory that hasn't been hit, and it's extremely hot pockets that haven't been hit.
I love that you see opportunities in any market. I think that's really important. Are we in a buyer's market?
Depends on the product.
Okay.
So we're in a buyer's market extremely when it comes to 1-bedroom studio condos, 1+ dens, almost 2 bedrooms, buyer market.
Right.
In houses, it's dependent on the neighborhood and dependent on the price point, whether we're a buyer's market or still a seller's market.
Okay.
So, for example, we have a client right now looking in Summerhill,
Okay.
and it's still on fire.
Yeah, it's on fire. I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Someone else mentioned that the other day.
So it's been challenging to find them a home in that pocket because everything is moving, and it's moving quite quickly.
Right.
So dependent on neighborhood and dependent on how it's presented.
Right.
That makes a big difference.
Sure. Investors, where are they? Are they here? Have they gone to sleep for a little bit? What's happening with investors?
Investors are still like coming out of the woodwork slowly, but they're looking for blood in the water.
Okay.
They want to know they've got the steal of a lifetime.
Right.
They're not so much in the condo sector is what I found,
Okay.
but they are looking at multiplexes.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is my favorite thing.
Right, right. Let's just touch on, we were talking about condos and investor. What's happening in the Airbnb? Are they suffering in this market? Are they selling? Have they added to the inventory of condominiums and properties? What are you seeing out there?
So it's definitely added to the inventory because Airbnb bylaws in the city of Toronto are very difficult.
Okay.
So if the city is making it almost impossible for you to Airbnb your property,
Right.
and the landlord tenant board is almost impossible to get rid of a bad tenant.
Right.
So what are you going to do with investor inventory? You're going to put it on the market.
Right.
So that's why we're seeing an influx of small units on the market. It's a lot of investors that are trying to liquidate.
Right.
You'll also notice that anything tenanted is almost impossible to sell right now.
Okay.
So like the first step is probably vacating and then staging and then putting it to market.
Right.
Because if it is tenanted, it's having a lot of trouble selling.
So talking about tenants, is this a great time if they are qualified and have a great deposit? Is this a great opportunity and a great time for them to get into the market and become a homeowner?
It is, and they are starting to do that.
Amazing.
So I have noticed a lot of first-time buyers have entered the market more so than any other bracket.
Right.
And then a lot of smart sizers are in the market. So people that have bigger homes that they're trying to trade into a lower asset.
Right.
I've seen a couple upsizers, but the upsizers, what their understanding is, we're going to take a little bit less for our home, but we're also buying for less.
Right.
And the delta on the buy is better.
Yes. Okay.
So it's a little bit of everything. Anyone in a home though, north of 4 million,
right.
those people are kind of sitting still.
Okay.
Again, depending on the pocket, but those properties aren't seeing as much movement.
Okay. Is your first offer your best offer to anyone that's looking for advice?
Not
in this
always.
area? No, okay.
Okay. The reason why I say not always is because, okay, and first off, if you are a consumer, if you are a seller,
Right.
you really need to work the first offer and see if you can get somewhere with it.
Okay.
So let's say that first.
Right.
Like, don't disqualify the first offer. Look at how many days you've been on the market. Look at what's currently available in your area and then work the deal. But recently this actually happened where the first offer came in. We tried to negotiate with them. The first offer didn't want to negotiate.
Right.
They came they came back, but they didn't come back
Strong enough.
to make my client feel like we have an end goal. Based on what was currently on the market, our listing price, the amount of action we've had, we've made an executive decision of we'll sign it back at the same number we signed it back previously.
Right.
If they want to start playing ball, then let them start playing ball and we'll start negotiating again. And they didn't. The next offer that came in better.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the property sold.
So I think it's really important, getting back to the data and the stats, it's important for you to know your data from MLS, especially if you're primarily a listing agent. What's on the market? What has recently sold? What has expired? What has taken 1, 2, 3 price reductions? What's the average day on the market right now?
Oh my gosh. It depends again on the actual property.
Okay.
But you're looking anywhere between 40 to 60 days.
Okay. So it's not 1 hour like during the height of the market.
No.
Okay. What did the height of the market teach you about real estate?
Well, the part of the height of the market is, and this sounds bad and every agent's going to hate me,
Okay.
but in a hot market,
It's okay. You're not here to be
liked by other agents.
everybody.
I'm here to be liked by my clients. In a hot market, everything sells.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to say it doesn't matter who you sell with.
Yeah, I have to agree with you.
But you're leaving less money on the table if you choose to work with anyone.
Right.
I'm not saying maybe you don't leave any money on the table. Maybe you got whatever. But a seasoned professional in this market is doing better. Like
Right.
I've had the least objections with commission
Amazing.
in this market.
Okay.
And the conversation is, would you like to sell your home? And if you would like to sell your home, I do have the playbook on how it's actually going to get sold.
For top dollar in the least amount of time to the most qualified buyer.
Exactly.
That's what it boils down to.
And I'm not going to cut corners because we don't cut corners.
Right.
And that's how I tell people.
Right.
In a market where everyone else is telling you staging is not important, we can cut
Yes.
corners on this. We won't do open houses. We won't do this.
Right.
I'm not telling you we're not going to do anything. I'm telling you we're going to do everything.
Right.
And we're going to do it 10 times better
Right.
because you need to stand out. And if you want your product to sell, you need to stand out.
You when you speak the value that you articulate, it's almost as if you've been in the industry as long as I have. You're kind of like this experienced soul. Let's go back to your originating days as a real estate practitioner, as a sales representative. How long have you been trading in real estate?
I want to say 6 to 7 years now.
6 to 7 years. And you are, which to many people who don't understand the levels of awards, and I know you don't care about awards, but congratulations to being a chairman's agent at Royal LePage, which is the upper echelon of the industry. And you did that in less than a year. From when you began the industry to where you are today, what's been the most significant change that you have found that has made you a better business professional, but most importantly, a better real estate agent? Remember, we are licensed, although I don't trade, but real estate agents are licensed to help sellers become homeowners, or sellers achieve the best possible price on their property, and buyers become homeowners, achieve the dream of homeownership.
So I would say the biggest pivotal moment is when I also got into the market.
Right?
So it's a lot more of a challenge to understand the buying process when you're also not in the other seat. So
Okay.
at this moment in time, I've owned every kind of real estate.
Okay.
So when I talk
At such a young age. At such
I'm a
young
little
age.
addicted. You know this. I have an
I know that.
addiction with real estate. I told Dan I want to buy this house, and he was like, sell
no.
something and you can buy it. No, I have a problem. The first step is knowing you have a problem.
Right.
So I think the real pivotal moment in my career is when I started investing in real estate.
Okay.
And when I started going through the process, because it's a lot easier to walk a buyer through it when you've also owned it
Right.
or when you've also bought it. It's a lot easier to tell someone, I know it's scary, but it's actually
Right.
going to be okay.
And also understanding the processes by working with finance experts or legal teams like Jonathan.
Exactly.
You understand it, so you're better able to provide those services to your customer to make sure they're cared for as well.
And then when it comes to the flip side, when it comes to selling your property, I'm an investor, I'm a buyer. When I walk into your home, I'm looking for the things that would make me not want to buy your home. What would I point out to my potential buyers about your home?
So do you walk into a home first as the salesperson or as a potential client?
So I'm walking in and walking through the home as if I'm a buyer.
I love that.
And then we're sitting down and I'm making a list for them on everything I would do to limit our objections on our price.
Amazing.
Because every single person is going to come and try and beat you down on price right now. Let's not give them a reason to do it. Let's take care of any of the major issues. Let's make sure the property shows immaculately.
Fantastic.
Again, we don't cut corners. There's people turning on the lights every morning before the day. So
Right.
during showings, listings show with open lights. If you are a seller and you're like, my power bill, blah, 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 it's very little amount of money
Right.
for the lights to be on. Your agent will go turn them off at the end of the day. The house feels different when you walk in and all the lights are on.
Right.
And the house feels different when you walk in and it's dark and we can't find the lights and we can't take off. Like, it's different.
So you have standards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's standards.
you have really high standards, and a lot of people don't. I know Wayne, when he's got showings taking place, he always makes a call to the seller, reminding them of those little standards that need to be set. And I think it sets the stage, right? All the world's a stage, and your home is the stage for a potential client. Let's talk about the Elena Saradidis team.
Okay.
How many on your team?
So we're 11 at the moment.
Amazing.
We're 3 admin,
Right.
and the rest are agents.
Right. How important is it that your agents understand both the buying and selling process?
Look, it's extremely important, but on anything that they're working on, they need to be educated on what it is.
Okay.
And I tell this to anyone that I work with or anyone that I get brought into a listing appointment for. All of our agents are cross-trained on your property.
Right.
They need to know what we're selling.
Yes.
Because how does someone that's supposed to be the expert of the property not know an answer?
Right.
So even for this home, I've had our team sit down with the owners and the owners walked us through it.
Amazing.
Like, walk us through what you know about the home.
Right.
Walk us through your upgrades. Walk us through everything.
Right.
Someone took notes. The notes were distributed afterwards.
Right.
We had a full conversation about it.
Right.
Then we did the video tour for the well. And people are going to think this is overkill, but I did it. I made everyone write an exam.
You're a tough cookie.
Well, this is my logic.
Yeah.
Everyone on my team has opportunities to be on different listings, to work with different buyers. They have
But
opportunities.
the same opportunity, right?
And I don't want to say reward, but I give more opportunities to people that are studying about the property, that I see at the office,
I think that's fair. Again, we're going back to standards. We're going back to the standards.
I told everyone there's an exam. You can feel free to participate in it or not. There's no pressure.
Right.
But whoever does the best grade on it will
Right.
end up being on the listing with me.
Okay, so as your cooperating agent. That's
Exactly.
fair. That's
So
fair.
I think that's a very fair thing. But if you're going to be pulled on the listing with me, you better know everything about the property.
Yes.
So that's part of it. They need to be trained on it.
Fantastic. How important is education, learning, networking for your agents? How important is that?
Look, it's extremely important, but it's also important that we get to know other agents in the industry because in a tough market, the reputation, the name carries value.
Yes.
So being able to call someone and say, you and I are going to get a deal done together.
I love that.
We're going to figure it out.
Referrals. How important are referrals to your business?
Look, referrals from other agents, very little.
Okay.
Referrals from our clients
Amazing.
is how we've sustained.
Perfect. So you've got a great ambassador platform, we'll say. Your clients are your ambassadors.
Like
right?
I said, my clients are my farm.
Yes.
We just take care of our people and then our people take care of us.
I think that's why you're so successful, Elena. Let's end it with your And I'd love to go on a tour of this home
Yeah.
that we can showcase in this presentation. How important are events for the consumer? You seem to be a rarity in our industry. I've seen you host Mother's Day events, yoga retreats, tea parties. I don't know, pizza parties. You do really. I mean, you do a great job bringing community and people together where they feel good amongst other people. Are those your clients?
They're my clients. So my friends laugh about this. By the way, my clients become my friends very easily.
Right.
But they all laugh about it because they're like, you get on Elena's PR list.
Right.
So like anytime we do something really cool or interactive, of course they're invited.
Right.
And everything's always somewhat community focused. We're not trying to sell you on anything.
Right.
So Move With Us, our yoga event, we're not doing anything other than
that.
come have yoga with us.
Right.
Or come work out with us.
And you have branded items, right?
Always,
Yeah.
always.
What are some of those items? I've seen like T-shirts and caps and things.
We've done tote bags.
Tote bags.
We do little branded things, but honestly, it's more so creating moments with them and with their friends where it's not salesy and they're free activities in the city.
Right.
So,
and in the areas that you serve.
Exactly.
Right. So you're also honoring the businesses that are part of the fabric of your areas of specialization.
And we love that. Like anytime a community, an organization, anyone reaches out to us,
right,
we're all on board. So like we've helped with fundraising of schools. We have like a cotton candy machine that we've lent out.
I love that.
Like we do stuff for the community all the time.
Right.
And it's because we're not just selling homes in the area.
Right.
There's a component of it of if someone's moving into the area, what's so special about it? What happens here that doesn't happen in other areas? And it's not just about this specific pocket of the city.
Right.
We do it everywhere.
Right.
And again, it's client focused. Everything's always client focused.
I love that.
It's not sales focused.
I love that. What's next for Elena Saradidis' team? What's your goal this year?
Our goal this year is just to help more families. That's it.
Beautiful. We'll end it simply at that because that's what our business is about. I think when you look online and we pay a lot of attention to what happens online, but I don't know many people who are committed to the experience as you are. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here with you, but I've been following you for how many years now? 5 years, 6 years? Everything you have done has been centered around buyers and sellers, helping them achieve the dream of home ownership, helping investors, helping buyers and negotiate terms and pricing for them. That's really important right now. And I want to congratulate you on your success.
Thank you so much, Virginia.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully the next time you come on, you talk all things about the Buzz Conference. I'm going to kind of make you do it.
But see, you make up our content for Buzz. When we speak with you, it just takes us to that next level, what we have to put on our stage. Agents are getting lost in the noise out there. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of misinterpretation of data. There's a lot of misinterpretation of news and from the media. I think when I look at somebody like yourself, you are truly committed on helping buyers and sellers of real estate, and you do it very well. Yeah. And that's why we're here today.
And I think final note too is even if you are starting out in the industry, you don't have to go all out with your budget on certain things. There's creative ways that you can work within your limits.
Right.
And still put on amazing events and still showcase your listings in the best light. Once again, it's Elena Saradidis. And today I was with Virginia Munden with the Buzz Conference. And this was all things real estate with Property Play. If you like content like this, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe.